Welcome to the guest house. Today, we open the guest house doors to a true Renaissance man of the Chicago music scene, a former model for Vogue Russia, and the MVP of the 1999 Oak Lawn Spartans basketball team.
Yeah.
You think you know him. You might even think you know his occupation, but to quote the great Michael Scott, you don't know me. You've just seen me naked. Kenny Braasch, welcome to the program. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, man. You got the good stats there. You did a good back.
Yeah, dude.
Good homework.
On a low budget show, the research is free, dude.
It's fantastic.
Right. So we want to, again, like I said before, we want to get to know the you outside of kind of the narrow edit we get on a week-to-week basis. So First things first, we'll jump into the occupation a little bit later, kind of in more depth, because there's a lot to tackle there, and there's more interesting tidbits than people know. But to start us off, can you just kind of give people a little background on who you are, your interests, hobbies, just kind of what type of guy you are to the people who maybe didn't watch the season or didn't get enough of you?
I mean, honestly, I'm a typical Chicago born and raised in the suburbs. And now I live I've been downtown living for probably like, I don't know, 6-7 years now. Just a very blue collar family. My dad worked at the post office. My brother's a cop. I mean, it's like very standard Chicago South Side stuff going on. And for me, I've been in the bar music scene for about 17 years now. So pretty much out of college, I worked in radio for like a hot minute and then jumped into the venue scene and been doing band stuff, and really that's it. Like I was an athlete back in the day, and I still play softball, which is a big thing here in Chicago, but that's about it as far as sports go nowadays.
Just a true blue Illinois boy. We respect it. But like you said, you've been around the music scene for like 17 years. You're one of the older dudes on the show, and therefore have a lot more layers to your story than some of the other guys might. Now, I think your occupation both fascinated and surprised a lot of people, especially the specificity behind being a boy band manager. But few people understand the true origins. Can you speak a little bit to your start at 115 Bourbon Street, how your career's evolved over time, and the side business you built years ago?
Yeah, so basically, my main thing is being the talent buyer, which basically just means I book all the entertainment for this venue, and I've been doing it for a very long time. I started young, and I was young, dealing with a lot of older guys, and that's sort of where I had to become a little hard-headed, or whatever you might want to call it. But it sort of like hardened me dealing with a lot of I guess in this industry, it's a lot of assholes, to be honest with you, including myself sometimes. So it's kind of a dirty business. It could be, but there's also a lot of great people as well. But I mean, it's just that went on for many years, and then at some point, we came up with this idea for the boy band tribute, and so basically we put this band together. We built it from scratch. All the musicians were put together by me and what is now my business partner, which is a whole separate business from the bar, even though I still work for the bar. But then we created this business, and once we started the band, that led to up to right now we have 7 bands. We have 7 acts, tribute cover bands that we have up to this day. So actually, the 7th is debuting tomorrow. Actually, it's first show.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, congrats. Well, it's good to be able to be back out and debuting these guys.
Yeah. This band, it's a 90s, it's called 90s Pop Nation. It's doing all 90s pop music. So it's something that we've actually had on the back burner for literally 5 years, but COVID actually gave us a chance to sort of get it going again, because we had so much downtime.
Mm-hmm. And so your role, correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost like it's almost like a smaller version of a Simon Cowell with a One Direction
100%.
sort of thing, right? Like
Yeah.
you are putting the different personalities and talents together and forming a completely new band.
That's what we do. Yeah, we don't like sign bands. We're not an agency. We create the bands ourselves
Mhm.
and the concepts. So we're part of like the process from the ground up, basically. So it's 100% comparable to what Simon does, like with One Direction. Just the money's not as great as yeah. It's just
And you mentioned one of the more experienced guys on the season. And now, regarding that in particular, there's been a lot of lore surrounding the casting behind Claire's season. But
sure.
you have one of the more interesting stories surrounding your application process because in reality, you never actually applied. Can you talk a little bit about how you became one of the first recruits to Bachelor Nation?
I mean, I don't know the rhyme or reason how I even ended up on this show, to be honest with you. It's just they had hit me up. From what I understand, they like recasted Claire's season looking for older dudes at some point because when it got shut down for COVID, they like reevaluated. And that's how I ended up in the mix, dude. Like it was just
Like a
chilling.
blind DM, really? Like you didn't really see it coming?
No, I just got hit up, and
That's
I,
crazy.
I was I was chilling in lockdown like everybody else, and then I don't know, a few minutes later I was in Palm Springs.
I I guess it makes sense because again, you're more of like one of the more public guys in terms of your career. You have a lot, you've done modeling, you've been
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
music industry, so you're a little bit more exposed than most dudes. But that's such an interesting dynamic. I'm always like fascinated by the origin story of how people get in.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
yeah, I agree. I do have like a bunch of shit floating around.
yeah, and we're gonna get to most of it now. What I'm really interested in too, especially with anyone who's in music, works in music, it's obviously such a pillar of your both like personal life and professional life. Who are some of the artists that influence you the most? You big country guy, yacht rock, boy band. What was your thing growing up?
I'm still big. Classic rock is still my main thing.
Mhm.
I always say I would usually refer like Bob Seger being like one of my favorite
Mhm.
artists. So I'm like that realm. Seger, Stones, like that
Mhm.
whole thing. I collect vinyl, and I only buy like the old classic albums. So yacht rock is 100% one of my favorite genres of
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Like
And we're
it's
we're in yacht rock season too. We're right in front of it.
we absolutely are. Absolutely. Yes.
Now, you're someone who has seen more boy bands, been involved with more boy bands than perhaps 99% of the world's population. So I'm going to ask you to rank these boy bands from having the best to worst cover bands, because I'm sure you've seen a lot of great ones, a lot of horrible ones over the years. So you've got your NSYNCs, your New
Yeah.
Kids on the Block, your Hanson, and your Backstreet Boys, which has been the worst cover band you've ever come across in your career?
So out of those bands,
Yeah, or you can go off the board. If you've seen a
well,
really bad one, you're like, I'm itching to talk about
no, I
whatever.
mean, first of all, I think I feel like if you're talking about like the best boy band, I think I defer to the Backstreet Boys because they're still they're still doing their thing pretty
Yeah.
strong. And then in sync, actually probably then One Direction.
Oh yeah.
Then in sync, New Kids on the Block, which is like they're like pioneers of this whole thing. But
Mhm.
when we do our set list, so our band covers all of these bands. Like we
Yeah.
do all of that music. So, but surprisingly, New Kids on the Block, we only do like the right stuff, and
Mm.
we don't do a whole lot of New Kids. It
It
doesn't
just
seem
doesn't
to.
hit the same.
No, it doesn't hit the same for some reason. I don't know. Maybe they're just a little too early in the game. Like they were like 89, 90
Yeah.
ish. So
That's a shame
um,
though, man. We're talking pioneers of the
it's
of the
good.
realm.
It kind of depends. I mean, if it's an older crowd, sometimes it hits better.
Yeah.
I mean, for us personally, I love New Kids on the Block shit because I'm 40, and actually most of the guys in our band are in their 40s, mid 30s. upper 40s, even some of the guys. So, but we even do some Motown shit. Like we'll do a Temptations, and we'll throw it back for a couple songs.
Oh, damn, that's
stuff
awesome.
like that. Yeah.
And you alluded to it a little earlier about how your career experience, you know, you're dealing with a lot of strong personalities. You're dealing with a lot of unexpected situations. How much do you think your line of work helped you deal with all the chaos and kind of the exceptional amount of drama we saw that ensues throughout a Bachelorette season?
Dude, my whole life was the same as being on that show. It's basically just babysitting and dealing with putting fires out, kind of coming at people when they need to be come at.
Yeah.
Came at, however the fuck you say that. So the experience was, I don't know, because I kind of fell into that role where I was sort of just calling out bullshit on the show, kind of just kind of like just calling things what they were, like, you know, that's sort of what you saw on the show is basically was exactly how I am, I guess is what I mean. So,
and you wrote a pretty difficult balance too, because it's a tough line to be the dude or the girl who's calling out people for their bullshit without then kind of crossing that line and then being the dude who's just calling people out because it's the thing that makes you look good, right? Like we've seen that a million times. We saw it on your season a bit even, and we kind of saw the girls turn towards Katie and accuse her of that towards the end, but you never really got
no. I didn't. So I'm not trying to like personally attack anybody. I'm more so like dissecting what is going on or what you said. Like the thing with Spencer, I'm like, I'm not saying you're a dickhead. I'm just saying you're being a dickhead. It doesn't mean, or even with Noah at the mental hall, like I'm just saying you were being a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm not attacking you personally. I'm not attacking what you look like or what you do or anything. No. I'm just saying you were acting a certain way, and let's talk about it. Like
this 2-minute comment, 2-second comment, it doesn't define who you are, but you were a dick. Yeah, it's not a complicated statement. Yeah, but you know, it helps to be said, especially because you guys had such a good house environment, and you guys seem to be now connecting digitally in person when you can. Can you talk about kind of the camaraderie throughout the house? Because that's sort of a rare dynamic that you get. Do you think it was because you had a bit of an older group?
I think part of it was the older group. I think part of it was kind of all the way everything went down with Claire, and then Tayshia coming in, I think, because we actually had some time where it was just the boys. And for whatever reason, a lot of friendships were formed, and honestly, it's almost the entire cast is still fairly pretty close with each other. And you know, I know that some have split off, and some live in New York, and everybody's all over the place. Some are on the West Coast. Not everybody can get together all the time, but I feel like there's no beef, which is weird for the most part. So it's interesting, but I do think it was because the guys were more mature, if that makes sense. I feel like that is part of it. Yeah.
Now, of course, despite the camaraderie, every season has its villains, and you perhaps surpassed them all in the most literal sense after modeling as the Joker for a Mortal Kombat expansion. Of all the obscure modeling gigs you've been commissioned for over the years, which has made for the best story?
Well, I mean, the Joker thing was cool. There was like a first version of that, and it looked really like me. And it got like blasted, like this is the worst Joker I've ever seen. I swear, dude. And then
that's a tough fan base to break through.
I know. Yeah. And I didn't like it either. It looked like me, but like it had like a very bloated face. You can see if you go on my Instagram. That was the original version.
Oh, the first version? Okay.
Yeah, and then they redid it, and you can barely see it's me at this point because they've added a lot. In the actual gameplay on the profile view, you could kind of tell it's me a little bit more, but that was strange. I did this like editorial thing, and I was like holding a chicken.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna bring it up. I was gonna let you. Yeah. So that's one that floats around the internet a lot.
Yeah. So the story on that was we were just shooting some underwear ad out in North Carolina, and then like we were on this farm and there was horses and chickens, and so we just started shooting sort of more editorial type shit
Sure.
with all the animals, and somehow that chicken one has just been the one that whatever.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm a little peek into my life. I'm a writer outside the podcast with a fashion magazine, so I get the whole weird editorial thing. That's part of the game for sure. But
yeah.
Now, as a diehard White Sox fan, you once said to the Daily Southtown 2016, I respect Cubs fans that stay Cubs fans, and I respect Sox fans that stay Sox fans. I don't respect I'm a Chicago fan. I like people when they're loyal. Now, do you think a bandwagon fan bodes poorly for a relationship? If you're an LA dude jumping over to the Clippers a couple years ago, you think that bodes poorly for a relationship?
I do, because I don't know when it comes. I don't know. It's a different story when it comes to Cubs and Sox in Chicago.
Yeah.
I do not. It's just you can't just be both. You can't. You got to be on.
I can feel the frustration coming through the Zoom call. I can feel it across the border.
I don't know. It's just, I get it. If you're not a baseball fan and you're just very casual and you're like, oh, I'm just Chicago, but it's just, it can't be that way here. You have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't.
There are very few instances where it's like, should be against the law to be both. You get same in New York. You can't be Mets and Yankees. You can't, like, similar in LA. Yeah, there's a few cities where it's like, hey, if you're gonna live here, there's very few rules that you gotta live by, but that's one of them. Now, as someone who's now has several Bachelorette friends, speaking of New York, in New York, bias aside, which city has the superior cuisine, Chicago or New York?
For me, Chicago 100%. For food, dude. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, New York's got like a million fucking restaurants, obviously, and Chicago does too, but Chicago food is pretty unbeatable in my opinion.
So you got a bunch of different kind of iconic Chicago foods, obviously deep dish, kind of the whole sandwich genre. Are you you're a deep dish guy then, I assume?
No, I feel like most of the people here, the actual people that live in Chicago, don't even eat the deep dish. I feel like I like the thin. I like the thin crust, like burnt pizza. Yeah, I don't care for the deep dish, to be honest.
That's just a touristy thing that's getting tossed around. You think?
I 100%. Like, I don't think anybody that lives here actually eats the fucking deep dish. It's just a thing.
I just got exposed as the Canadian I am.
Yeah.
Now, as a former bookstore employee myself, I can attest that the polarizing mom fandom dominates two realms more than any other: the Bachelorette franchise and romance novels. Now, I'm sure you're getting a lot more attention from your TV appearance than you did for being on the cover of Born Wild and Kissing with Fangs, two respective romance novels. But can you tell me a little bit of how that job came to be, and whether or not you've ever been recognized not as Kenny from TV, but as Kenny from the bookshelf?
Dude, most people don't even know about the romance novels. I haven't thrown that out in a while. That's funny.
That's something I'm jealous of, dude. That feels like a good career, man. Just being a heartthrob on a book.
Technically porn, I think. I could say I'm technically part of the porn industry.
Yeah, part of the Amish porn industry.
So nobody, the only people I got, so basically at the bar back when those books came out, there was a joke at work, but outside of that, I don't know if anybody's
ever brought it up.
Yeah.
Now, how seasoned are you from all the jobs that have kind of put you in that public spotlight? How kind of weathered have you become at filtering out criticism from impassioned fans who now feel as though they know the real Kenny Braasch?
I'm pretty good, I'll say, of that. I caught the deal. I got you get a little bit from the show because obviously, like you said, you say things on the show and people are going to take it one way or another. So I did, just like the rest of the guys, like there's there's comments, there's DMs,
Mm-hmm.
pretty, they could get pretty nasty. And to
Mm-hmm.
be honest with you, so I'd be lying if I said it doesn't make you feel a certain way, at least for a moment. But
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that I'm pretty good at just taking it, and it is what it is. I don't respond to it. I don't like if there's comments. I don't really respond to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll leave them. I won't delete them for the most part.
Mm.
I'll leave the comments, like, because I want people to see it,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's like, maybe somebody else will chime and be like, dude, fuck off. But it's like,
Yeah, or at least see like, hey, this is a
yeah,
reality of being in the public
yeah.
spotlight. Like, this is the world. Yeah.
I mean,
No.
I did delete. I would delete some more when the show was on.
Yeah.
But now if something pops up, I just leave it. I just
Yeah.
don't engage with it.
Now, did that surprise you? Because I remember Ed being like, "Hey, I didn't know that I don't know. I can't. I think you just mentioned death threats. I know that Ed mentioned that he got some real threats, and I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised." And you were saying, I hadn't seen the show. I didn't know Bachelor Nation had this side of it.
I sent Ed a couple death threats, actually. They were from they were from my burner accounts. He doesn't know that.
Okay, well, now it adds up. Yeah, case closed. Yeah, it's just it's a crazy world.
I don't honestly. I didn't even expect it. I should have expected it, but I didn't until it started happening a little bit. And I didn't get crazy amount,
No.
which I'm actually surprised, because I feel like I'm an easy target, just with sort
That's
of
true.
sort of douchebaggy. And
They slapped you with the target on your back.
yeah, so I actually probably got off easy, to be honest with you. So I feel like I could have gotten a lot more than I did, but maybe I don't know. It was okay though.
It was fine enough. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know how familiar you were with the franchise beforehand, but we know that DeMar was someone who was a fan of the show long before he arrived for the season. Was he kind of like a guiding force in the house for how group dates work, rose ceremonies, other dynamics?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. I wasn't super familiar. I had watched bits and pieces. I knew some guys in prior seasons. So I watched a little bit. I wish I did a little bit more homework going in, to be honest.
Why? Like, what was it that you wish you were a bit more prepared for?
Just, I mean, the one thing that really made me nervous was the limo stuff. So the limo entrance, like, I was so wrapped up in that when I was getting ready to leave, I didn't pay attention to like how the rest of the show kind of went. So it's just, I wish I did, just to know the structure a little bit more. But DeMar, he's like an encyclopedia of like cast members and things that happen on the show. So he actually was a good reference to have have around.
We're huge DeMar guys. I think we're going to be seeing him host a late night show at some point in our lives.
DeMar he's one of the funniest guys, dude. I really I love DeMar. Like now, everybody else.
Another dude from the season, Blake Moynes, he gets brought up constantly when people joke about nudity or the most embarrassing dates. You endured pretty much the same amount, if not more, throughout your dates. Now, as a model who's also endured posing nude alongside farm animals like we talked about, how much did that prepare you for some of the more vulnerable dates that you kind of got thrown into?
I love, like, any dates like that. I felt great. Dates, if I was on, luckily I wasn't on dates where they had to like do more of like when they had to like do more poetry type shit, or like speaking romantically, which I'm very fucking bad at. So I ended up on like the dodgeball, let's be naked type dates, and that worked out great for me. And then me and Blake were together. We were probably the perfect pair. We did that truth or dare stuff, and like I don't like, he waxed my my pubes at one point, and I waxed his ass, but I don't think they showed that. So it's just me and him on that were a good pair, because we pretty much like agreed like, oh, let's just have fun and just do whatever. Like we didn't have any filter on that date particularly.
Now, speaking of those dates, we're going to play a quick game of start, bench, cut. So the PG version of Fuck, Marry, Kill for embarrassing dates. We've got So you're starting one. Hey, I do it again. That was kind of fun. Benching one, not a huge fan, but not the worst. And cutting one, I don't want to ever do that shit again.
Yeah.
Faking an orgasm into a PA system, writing an impromptu love song for Tayshia, and strip dodgeball.
Start. So for what was the first one? It was the orgasm.
Oh, the PA system. Yeah.
Okay. So that one I would I'll bench that one, start dodgeball, and cut
the love song.
The love song, because that was
that dude. That's a tough round because everyone's like, oh, Kenny's the boy band guy. It's like, dude, I'm not playing for them.
That's what I said. I'm like, there's a reason I'm not in the fucking band. Like I'm behind the fucking curtain, hanging out in the green room. Like, I'm not on stage, bro. So it was bad.
I didn't go back and watch the tape, but you didn't rap, did you? That was Bennett.
Bennett raps. Yeah, he has a side character that does.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a rapper. Yeah.
Different name for the side character, or you can't say it on a camera.
Nah, his rap name is Stacy, I believe, and I think it's spelled STA and then space capital C with Stacy.
There's literally no other rap name like, of course his rap name is Stacy. Like just the least hard rap name I've ever heard in my life. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. The strip dodgeball is the one part of the show that I'm like, or any of those sports ones that I'm envious of, because they make you feel like a legit professional athlete. Like, you got your shit in the locker room, you got a little name tag.
Yeah.
Just part of that, like,
yeah,
dude, hyped up for a legit game.
I was totally hyped up for dodgeball because it was like at La Quinta, they do like tennis tournaments, like big time. So we were on like the main court, lights, cameras, everything. There's an announcer's table, like intros. It was like this whole thing. It was 100% what you just said. It felt like you're coming out to play fucking NBA basketball game. There was a referee, like it was like a legit.
Oh man,
it was legit. I mean,
that's the dream, dude. I'd kind of go on there, and be like, okay, can we get a pickup game going? And then I don't know, maybe I pack my bags and that's it. But that might be worth it alone. Now, you mentioned La Quinta. They had you set up with with the refs, with the lights, with the arena for the game. But as a model and fitness enthusiast, there were some parts that I'm sure fell a little short for you at La Quinta. Which aspect of the show was a bigger challenge? Working out with just some workout bands and Ben's dumbbells under a single tree, or trying to find time to eat properly during a hectic day of shooting? Because we know you lost a little bit of weight during.
Fuck yeah, dude. Honestly, both of those were fucking very difficult. I think it was about 13 pounds I lost being there.
Jeez, man.
I was always pretty much the first guy up in the morning, and I would try to work out with the bands quick. Mm-hmm. And then eat. I would try to get meals in, but like when I'm at home eating, I eat a lot. When you're there, you're eating when you can, and it's not always the best option. So that was tough, dude. And then the lack of sleep as well. So it's
how many hours a night do you think you're sleeping? Not Ed, because if I had to guess, I'm guessing was he the last one up?
He was. They had to wake his ass up.
Yeah,
I was up. I used to work out on his porch because I would wrap my bands around his like fucking post outside of his door. I probably was only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
man.
On the regular.
That's nuts. And but one of the things that surprised us most while talking to Ed was hearing how long those rose ceremonies were, kind of cutting into that sleep time almost.
Yeah.
Was that the most surprising aspect of the show, or if not, what was to you?
Well, that was definitely one of them. I did not realize the marathon sessions, some of that, the rose ceremonies particularly, some of the group dates. It was tough, like, because you would get to the point. And if you're at the end of if you're one of the last guys kind of hanging out and talking with Clare or Tayshia, like your mind is, you're just like, you're not there. Like you're
and
tired.
Neither is she. Like she's talked to 50 people.
It's probably even worse for her because at some point you're just like, I don't fucking care. Even if you're even if you're like attracted to the guy or her, even if there's an attraction, you're at some point you're just like, I don't give a
zombie.
Yeah, just like,
literally.
I just want to go to. Yeah, so that's part of it. It's part of it.
Despite staying up, putting that in that effort, Claire famously opted to not give any of you guys a rose during one of the group dates, a bold move,
Yeah.
instead choosing to give it to herself. Kenny, if you had to give a rose to one dude who helped keep the house's spirits up during Claire's tenure, who would it be? And like Claire, you can give it to yourself.
I feel, let's see. I really, I don't know. I'm gonna just say let's give it to. We're gonna have to give it to Ed.
Nice.
Just because I feel like Ed was always like a good fallback guy to like be funny or make light of anything that was going on, and he was a good guy. I think we should give him one.
That's the stuff we always want to see more of, is like the cuts of the outtakes and stuff. People live for that shit, and I'm always like, damn, we got to see a little bit more behind the scenes, the pranks. He alluded to some pranks. I know you guys can't like talk about stuff that wasn't necessarily shown, but it just seemed like, you know, a fun environment that you obviously miss out on some of that stuff. But now, there was obviously some resentment looking back to, you know, some of the less light moments of the house throughout the house surrounding Dale near the end of Claire's time at La Quinta. I think I probably know the answer to this, but looking back, were there any real issues with Dale, or was it kind of simply the situation clouding everyone's judgment of him?
Yeah, I don't think anybody had a personal issue with Dale. If they did, it was very, 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 very minute.
Yeah.
It was like you just said, like if people had issues because Claire was pulling him, she wanted to spend all the time with him, and it's not his fault.
Oh, it's like, hey, that's what I'm here for, guys. Like, I like you, but I'm not here to make 20 friends.
Right. And even watching it back, seeing how she would like, he was trying to like not maybe be so over the top, but she was forcing it. Like, what's he supposed to do? So I like Dale. I think Dale's a good guy, and he did nothing wrong. I think even when I said, like, I don't know, I think I said it was really more on Claire. Like it's not Dale to be upset about. It's Claire's the one making the moves here. So it's just, and not
it's
that
their show, right? Like it's the Bachelorette or Bachelor's show. Like, okay, you got to validate everyone or give them a chance. Like that's what the program is.
Or my thing was, if you guys are cool, like if you guys want to cut it and you guys are good, that's cool. Just tell us now, because what happened was it went on for a little while, leading back to that date where she didn't give the rose out. So before that date even happened, it should have just been dropped, and they should have.
Great, I'll go home, or I'll have a vacation here with the dudes. Yeah,
they should have pieced out before they did, and that's where things started to get like. Well, I'm always like, well, fuck everybody, you know, just what are we doing here? So.
Yeah, but yeah, I empathize with both. Like Dale, I would have probably acted the exact same way, and you guys. I mean, if that's going on, I'm gonna be roasting him during my roast or during the confessionals. It's like, it's just people reacting the most natural way possible to a tough situation. But you seem to be the first guy to understand that Dale had a lock on Claire's heart. It seemed like other people were, you know, still maybe a bit overly optimistic. When to you was it clear that you and all the other guys were just playing with a losing hand?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't particularly say I was the first one to notice it. I might have been the first one to speak on it. I feel like, especially early on, like people don't want to say everything that they want to. They're not going to say everything that they want to say. They're going to keep some stuff in because they don't want to stir the pot or get sent home, maybe. So, but honestly, it kind of felt a little strange right off the bat. First night, because I didn't even get time with Claire the first night outside of the limo entrance. And it's like, you know, there was a lot of time. You could just get a vibe that Dale was sort of leading everything, and obviously he got the first rose, first impression. So I mean, it was kind of the elephant in the room the first night, to be honest, and then it kind of just got more and more visible as the days went by.
The fact that it kind of started that first night too is even more of a red flag than if it happens down the line. Because like, okay, well, it's pretty clear that maybe you didn't communicate, but it's pretty clear that you looked him up and were stalking his page or whatever it was for months.
Well, yeah, that was sort of that's what was going around the house was like, okay, well, you just met the guy or did you?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Did you
Yeah.
just meet the guy or did you
Yeah.
meet him 3 months ago? I don't, that's it. And I don't know. I think, we asked her and she said, there was no interaction. So like, I don't, I just, if that's what they say, that's what
Yeah. I
I go
mean,
by. I mean, it don't
whatever.
matter.
It's over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll believe
Yeah.
whatever you say now. Now,
Yeah.
can you kind of explain the shift in mood throughout the house when Tayshia arrived? And, where was it completely up to? I know some guys like Jason, it seemed like Blake maybe had a bit of a reservation, or was it just kind of happiness, revitalized house when she came in?
Well, outside of those two, it was everybody was like happy,
Yeah.
relieved to have a new girl. Those two kind of still had some Claire baggage, I think, for a minute.
Mm,
But yeah, for the most part, everybody it was like a refresh, restart. And Tasha's a total different personality, and it
in
felt
what
good.
way? Just a little more bubbly,
Um,
maybe?
bubbly, but for me, the main thing was like she made it a point that she did want to spend time with each guy. So
Yeah.
with Claire, it was like everybody was like fighting to like go and talk to her.
Mm,
Tayshia was like making it very easy for everybody to kind of go and have a few minutes with her and get so she could get to know everybody. She wanted to get to know everybody as opposed
yeah.
to Claire didn't really want to get to nobody, understandably, because you were all about Dale, so which is fine.
Hmm.
Because like part of the problem is for the guys is navigating to spend time with the female. So
Yeah.
Tayshia made that easier. And she was also easy to talk to when you actually did talk to her. She paid more attention and wanted to get to know you as opposed
Hmm.
to Claire just more so going through the motions because she had something on her mind already. So it's all
Kids.
understandable, but yeah, everybody enjoyed Tayshia coming in and
Yeah.
until yeah.
And I think like she mentioned it to you guys, but maybe even more so in the edits. She did have kind of those anxieties of being like, "Hey, I'm the second girl coming in," and that does suck. But I kind of also think it maybe helped her a little bit because she was like, "Hey, I really got to ingratiate myself to this group of guys. I actually have to talk to all of them." Where Claire was like, "Hey, they came here for me. I'm the prize." We heard that like 50 times. Yeah, I get it, Claire. You're the prize. But do you think
Yeah.
that kind of also maybe aided it a bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point actually, and I didn't even think about that, but that may have kind of molded the way Tayshia came in
Hmm.
100%. And I don't, I'm not sure if I believe that Tayshia would have been any different, even if she was the
Yeah.
first. But that is a good point. That is a good
I
point.
you're right. I think she would have just crushed it either way though. Now,
Probably.
one thing I'm always interested in is because again, I'm super fascinated in the edit. So I always like to ask who from your season didn't get enough screen time that we should have known more about or that we should know about? Who from your season deserved to get a bit more time?
There was it's it's so tough because there was so many good guys.
Hmm.
Even early on, like Tyler Smith. He was probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. Like
Hmm.
it's just you didn't Blake Monar in Arizona. I mean, we're talking about there's some really cool guys in the house, and it just didn't pan obviously because there's always going to be that. It's
Of
just
course.
whichever way. But I know that like those two guys were like very beloved guys in the house
Hmm.
when like as far as hanging out and just being cool. Um, like I Dr. Joe became like a a thing sort of afterwards because people sort of picked up on how cool he was.
Dude, all
Um,
of you guys love Dr. Joe. He's like everyone's friend on the show.
yeah, Dr. Joe, man, is yeah, he's a good dude. I talk to him a lot, and I like he's just one of those guys. Like he's a smart dude. He's just I don't know. He's just a good guy. But that's the
How
problem. Like there
old
was
is he? Because he comes across as super like
he's
mature and put
he's
together.
30. He's upper 30s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's pretty, yeah, for sure. I want to say maybe 37 or something like that.
Okay, so I mean, not far from you. Yeah, you can relate
No,
on
no.
that front as well.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
was there someone who's kind of like, and maybe it wasn't the edit necessarily, but someone who you've learned outside, or gotten to know outside of the show that you're like, oh wow, they were really different than what either people saw or what you saw in the house? Maybe someone like I don't know, a Noah that you've maybe had the chance to get to know better.
Yeah, Noah's probably a great example,
Mm.
because the way he was introduced into the mix, it was sort of under this sort of like enemy
Yeah.
scenario, because they added him and Spencer and a couple guys in out of nowhere, just so he was sort of, and then he sort of played into that part for a while, and I definitely got to know him more once the show ended, and I've talked to him quite a bit, and he's like a little brother to me, actually.
I was gonna see, like, do you see any of yourself in him as one of the older guys looking back at what you were like when you were 23, 24?
Pretty damn similar, to be honest with you. That's probably why me and him butted heads so much.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm like fighting with my old self here. And like I said, we had our little tiff at the Men Tell All, but I mean, it was just like I said, like I brought up earlier, is like I was just referring back to a situation that happened.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like in a personal attack or anything, even though I think he made fun of me being a boy band manager. But
yeah, I mean, the lowest hanging fruit, dude. It's like, okay, yeah, I've heard that 50,000 times a day.
Yeah, no, but he's a good guy, man.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. We were all just together hanging out again, and we still talk on text message once in a while. And there's actually I think me and Ed might go hang out with Noah. He might show us around Oklahoma one of these days.
Yeah, Ed was saying like he's really into like, the outdoorsy stuff. And that's obviously what Noah's into, like off-roading, mudding, that sort of thing. So yeah, that should be a great time. And now it seems like you're not completely upset with how you were portrayed. It seems like it was kind of what you were, what you saw on the show is who you are. But are there maybe some more subtle aspects of yourself that you wish Bachelor Nation got to see?
No, I mean, I'm content with what happened. Like like I said earlier, like the things that they did show, I mean, that was me. Like in my normal life, I do speak out on stuff quite a bit. I mean, and it's just the way I am. I think I left at the time that I probably was supposed to leave. I sort of, when I left, was like the borderline of like when it starts to get a little more serious. And obviously, if me and Tayshia didn't have a serious thing that was felt, I mean, if anything, I maybe would have went one more week, if anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was okay with it. I mean, honestly, like it
just wasn't a match. I mean, her and Zach seem perfect. I mean, how can you even be mad? Like, okay, well, process worked.
Zach, and Zach was one of my guys too. So it's like to see them and to be able to be friends with Zach and and Tayshia Zach is an unbelievable guy. Like I think that is probably going to work out. I mean, who knows, but I feel like it has a really good chance. And be cool. Like I haven't seen Tayshia outside of the show. I've seen Zach, but it's good that like if I do see Zach and Tayshia, everybody could be cordial and there's no beefs or anything. And there's no weirdness with Tayshia. It's just like we're just friends. It's just it's basically all it was. So.
And he's a loyal Eagles fan. We're talking bandwagon fans. There we go. Bodes well moving forward.
He is a loyal Eagles fan, and he's a huge Bob Seger fan.
Oh, really?
If you wanna fact check that, me and him were the only Bob Seger fans in the house.
There we go. Oh, that's awesome. Now, man, I know you get asked this every interview, every single contestant does. We're going to be basic as hell, and we have to ask you too, out of any of the girls on Matt's season, are there any that have caught your eye as potential Paradise contestants or someone you have interest in moving forward? Because if you don't, I think we have a name, and you can stay completely stone-faced. Don't give us a reaction, but we're gonna call our shot now. I think we're thinking age-wise. We're thinking, strong, outgoing attitude, someone who also speaks their mind. I think Mari. I think I'm putting a little bit of a match on Mari. Now, you don't have to say yes or no, but all I'm saying is I think there's a chance. Now, when life is back to normal and they're kind of getting going on shooting Paradise, I know that's coming up. Would you be interested if you got that call? I know you can't say if you maybe already have, but
yeah, I said on a few interviews that if they did reach out, that I would I'd be interested in it. Yeah. Because I think that I'd like to do it on, kind of going through the process and kind of knowing a little bit more. I would like to try it if it happens. Yeah.
Try it out. Now, dude, I put this question on, then I deleted it 4 or 5 times because I can't even keep up at this point. Do you think there's any chance of Dale being on Paradise?
Fuck, man. Who? I'll tell you, the one thing I learned is anything can happen on this stuff. Like they'll pull fucking shit out of their ass left and right, and you would never have thought about it. It's just, who knows?
The devil works hard, but Bachelor producers work harder. That's what they always say. Now, who, aside from Dale, who on your season do you think would, good or bad, cause the most waves entering Paradise?
Cause the most waves?
Yeah, like make the big,
It's still gonna be Noah.
Yeah, dude, that's what Ed said too. That's exactly what Ed said.
It's still gonna be Noah. It'll be even worse because now we're all closer, and it'll be even easier for him to fucking poke at everybody. But
I love that, man. Now, to the guys preparing for Michelle and Katie's seasons, what advice can you give regarding how to navigate the startling and sometimes awkward role of being an overnight reality star? Because it's different than really any other type of stardom.
I would say going on the show, I think the biggest mistake you just have to be, you really got to get outside of your comfort zone is probably the biggest thing. Because in the beginning, if you're not an outgoing person, you're quiet. I'm very quiet, outgoing. I have to warm up to the situation. I was terrified the first night, to be honest, to try to go. You got 30-something guys, and there's all this. You got Dale walking around. He's like fucking 6'6", fucking, like all these good-looking guys, and
everyone's peacocking.
Yeah, it's like, how the fuck am I supposed to even go talk to Clare?
I didn't know no one else is gonna wear a fucking t-shirt. Am I the only one wearing a t-shirt?
I know. I'm wearing a t-shirt with fucking dogs on it. Everybody's got fucking.
That was a great move, though.
But the shirt got me through, I think, for the first night. Maybe the first 2 nights, to be honest.
There we go. Maybe that's the tip. Be yourself, go out on a limb, and if they have dogs, throw them on a fucking t-shirt.
Always work the dog angle.
There we go.
Always work the dog angle.
That's advice on and off the show. There we go.
Yes.
Now, we can't wait to see Tayshia and Caitlin try their hand at hosting next season. We think that's going to be awesome. But what we've suggested on our podcast is, why not keep switching it up? Why not have Wells do Paradise? Why not have one of the dudes come on for The Bachelor? So if you could nominate one guy, you are the Bachelor producer. You're nominating one guy from your season to help guide the next Bachelor. Who would it be?
Well, I'll probably say, I'm sure Ed said the same thing. So I feel like, and we talked about this earlier, like DeMar, especially where he can refer to like everything that's happened in the past. Cause I feel like that's part of hosting, is like knowing stuff that's happened. Like like if I did it and like people are talking about like people from 2 seasons ago, I won't even know what the fuck they're talking about. So it's like, I feel like DeMar, and he has the personality to be able to. I think he can handle the on camera and all that stuff. And it's just, I think if him with a little on camera practice and stuff, I think he'd be great at it.
If they need a little motivation to buy that ring, he pulls out the cycling coach mentality, gets them to that finish line. I respect it. And at the same time, Kenny, you've made it to this finish line. You've given us all we could have asked for, from recapping the past to predicting a bright future ahead. We can't wait to see what's next. Now, there's only one thing left to do. And since we aren't sure if you're allowed to plug anything, we're happy to be the ones to send people to @KennyBraasch10 and @the Boy Band Night Chicago on Instagram. That's @KennyBraasch10 and @the Boy Band Night Chicago on Instagram to keep up to date with Kenny's journey. Kenny, My man, thank you so much for coming on. We hope to see you on TV again very soon. Thank you to all our listeners, old and new. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share on whatever platform you find your podcast. Thank you, and peace.